Welcome and a warm good evening to all our viewers at home. Thank you so much for choosing to tune into Young Climber. Today on the show, we have a spectacular man who has traveled through various organizations in the Kingdom of Eswatini. I am talking about World Vision, Peace Corps, and many others to name. But now he sits on the throne of being the Vice President Operations for Junior Achievement Africa. He tells us his story and how he plans to change the world. Sit with us as we chat with him. And we are joining you from the lovely Mountain View. Welcome back to Young Climber. Today we are joined by Mr. Sboniso Madlopha, who has transitioned through many prestigious organizations in the Kingdom of Eswatini, and now he shares his story as he goes all over the world and comes back to bring us the detail that we need to know and how we can influence young people to become like him one day. Mr. Madlopha, welcome to Young Climber.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Just to start off with, I always like to get a background feel of the guest. Can we talk about your upbringing and, of course, your educational background and how it influenced you to becoming this person today?
Maybe one can start by saying I grew up in a community called Gavelezizweni, down at Mangayane.
Yes.
And then where I did my primary school, Velezizweni Primary School, then I transitioned to go to Swazi National, where I completed my high school. I then went to the University of Eswatini, where I did a Bachelor of Nursing Science, majoring in Public Health, and then it set me off for my first job at World Vision as the HIV and AIDS facilitator. Yeah.
And now we talk about your journey at World Vision, which is, of course, as the HIV and Health Program facilitator. We were talking briefly about your nursing degree and what influence it has on your jobs. You said it didn't stop at all, but can you talk about your job specifically at World Vision and what you were doing there for the people in the Kingdom of Eswatini?
I think that was a job that really set the tone for my career, because this was a job that was more about interacting with people and having them participate in solving their own problems. And I think that was the tone that I got from there all throughout my career, the rest being the theme. So I think it did provide a situation where you get people, you plan with them, you identify problems, and you work together with them to intervene on their situations, and they participate in the solution that you are bringing to them. So I think that really set out how things are done throughout until today where I am. I still use that philosophy. And you did talk about my degree, my first degree, which is in public health, especially nursing. I think it gave me a window of how to approach a human life holistically, because we dealt with mental health, we dealt with physical health, we dealt with emotional health. So the whole, we're talking about somebody under psychology where it's divided into 5 parts, a human being. So those have been milestones, or should I say stepping stones, of how you approach even just life in general. So it helped me throughout my career. Even to date, I still use some of those principles. So indeed, it wasn't just about injecting people, giving them people tablets and all those things. It was just about how a human life is, how is it structured, and how it can be taken care of should it go out of the normal. So, and that applies across all spheres of life.
And then you went into Mothers to Mothers, where you served as a national trainer. And that is where you also transitioned from being a junior officer into line management. Can you talk about that experience, of course? And of course, the transition from being umuntu lomncane emsebentini into inheriting such a big role.
I think Mothers to Mothers offered me an opportunity where you could exert yourself and show your skills. And while you do that, you then attract other opportunities within the organization. And that is how the transition went on. It was more of having done a job as a national trainer, dealing with the mentor mothers that were there, training them and really managing them. Then I transitioned into a program manager, because now there was an opportunity that existed at that particular time, and looking at how I have worked in the organization, it then provided me with an opportunity for a promotion within the organization. And I think that was really a point where I realized that in life there is no one person successful, a successful person that is self-made.
Yes.
Whether you are a billionaire, whether you're a successful professional, you just need a person to believe in you and give you an opportunity. That's what happened. Because even if you're a billionaire, you need people who will believe in your concept and then subscribe to your concept and participate in it. Same here, and there are people who say there is a position, we want to give you a chance, we believe in your capabilities, and then you go out there and show yourself what you can do. So in life it's about providing an opportunity, believing in a person, because once you believe in a person, it's a measure booster for that person to do better in the job.
And you know, speaking of capabilities, I think yours didn't end, and they're still not ending. Back in 2013, you then took the decision to be part of the Peace Corps as an associate director. What motivated that decision? Because you could have chosen to stay with Mothers to Mothers, seeing that there were so many opportunities to grow for you, but then you transitioned also into something else. What motivated that specific decision?
I think it was more of exposure to new ways of doing work, because now this was an international government, like that's the US government.
Yes.
It was going to expose me to different cultures, different work ethics, and different way of really doing business within the sector that we were in. So I think for me, I embraced that opportunity, and of course it was growth on its own, because this was now a much higher position than where I was at Mothers to Mothers. So it was a combination of all those, because it's also about when you see opportunities, you go for them, because they say opportunities knock. It's not once, but they can knock as many as they come. But if you don't take them, it's gone. Opportunities, another one will come. So I did take that. I took the opportunity, and I'm excited that I did, because while I was at Peace Corps, I got to learn about the American culture, the American work ethics, the way people interact in the US, because I was dealing with the US volunteers direct there. I was having now my leaders or management or bosses were all Americans. Of course, we had some Emaswati who were part of the structure of the organization. So it was really a very experiential, a rich experience kind of a situation for me. And it really set the tone even for things that came out later on.
And speaking of things that came up later on, you know, as I hear you speak, it speaks of cultural exchange as well, which is what we'll get into when we get into what you're doing now. But then soon after, you also moved into Junior Achievement Eswatini. I'm sure all the young people in Eswatini are familiar with Junior Achievement, but can we talk about some of the successful initiatives that you were a part of, and some that you can pinpoint exactly, and your experience with Junior Achievement and what you achieved in the kingdom?
I think Junior Achievement has been one space that really gave me a lot of opportunity to express who I am, to even discover myself in terms of my creativity, my leadership skills, because that was when I had just recently graduated with my Master of Business Administration from Rhodes Business School. So I think I just graduated in a year or two when I got the opportunity to become the executive director at Junior Achievement. And one of the things that, among other things that I enjoyed being at Junior Achievement, was a space where you could come up with something and get people to support it, fund it, and run with it. And it really provided an opportunity for you to test your creativity, your management skills, and even directing at that level. And one thing, one program that I liked the most that I introduced there was the Student Savings Cooperatives Group. For me, that was a big one because of the way it came. You know, it came very early in the morning when I was going to when I was preparing for work. And the idea came and say, what if we can bring the students as part of the financial literacy program, not just telling them and teaching them about the basic financial literacy terminologies and strategies, but actually make them to do something. I said, let's start by saving. And that is when we started to bring the teachers together, share this idea, develop this concept, and the students started saving. And it was exponential, taking off. The excitement was there. I remember within a month, students, just from their own pocket money, no extra, they were able to save about 13,000 just from those 50 cents and putting them together and stuff. We then partnered with Lubane Savings Cooperative, which again believed in our concept, going back to the concept of saying you need somebody who will believe in what you are doing and give you a chance. And one part that I think was then the apex of it was when I got a call, an email as well. It started with a call and followed up with an email from Africa Cooperative Alliance that was based in Kenya.
Oh,
they
wow.
said, we saw this on the newspaper, online, and wanted to know about it because we've been trying to do it across Africa. How did you pull it? And I was happy to host about 7 African countries that came into Eswatini to learn of the concept that we developed, the junior achievement. So for me, that was one of the exciting moments of my stay, among others,
yes,
at Junior Achievement, because we had quite a few.
And, you know, still on Junior Achievements Eswatini, can we talk about what inspired you to pursue a career dedicated to empowering young people and, of course, fostering leadership skills?
It is one task that is very huge, especially because if you get it right, there are huge benefits to the country.
Yeah.
And if you get it wrong, you have wasted donor money, you have wasted your time, you have wasted parents' time, the students' time. So for me, it was really an important moment. And today, when I see a lot of what we call now the J alumni, they are successful business people, some are in the professional workplace, and some are giving testimonies of how you impacted in their lives. Now, this is the thing that we live for at Junior Achievement, where we are saying we want to instill an idea and then take the idea and you live with it as a way of life going forward without taking you out of your normal way or your plans that you have really planned that I want to study this and doing that. So shaping them was giving them and exposing them to something beyond the textbook, beyond what they are getting in class, because then we'd go to the school and say, you are teaching students all the other skills except for the skill that they will need to fight unemployment in this country. So can you open a door for us to then unleash students to this opportunity? So for us, it was an exciting experience, and today I still value that moment.
And now, you know, we talk about your transition to what you're currently doing now. You hold the position of Vice President Operations for Junior Achievement Africa. But that was shortly after you were head of marketing at the Tourism Authority of Eswatini, which I would see maybe as a digression from what you were sticking to in terms of your line of work. Was that point where you said to yourself, no, I want to go back and do what I used to do? The digression, did it motivate your decision to say, no, this is what I want?
It was not actually a digression. It was part of the bigger scope of things that I was concentrating on.
Okay.
When I was doing my MBA, I was more on leadership and management, strategy and marketing. So for me, it was an opportunity to try some of the elements that I've learned for my MBA, and an opportunity. And really my work at JA really was more of the marketing as well, because for the program to be out there, to be known, and to also have people that can sponsor it, support it, and participate in it. The marketing part had to be elevated. So that's one skill that I thought also I should sharpen. And when the opportunity came, because the head of marketing opportunities was not only about just marketing, but it also had an element of management within the marketing department as a head of department. So it was a combination of also opportunities to unleash some of the skills that I've acquired. So for me, it was polishing all the corners of the house and ensuring that you are fully equipped for any other opportunity that came ahead. And today I'm ever grateful for such opportunities that came along the way, such as the one at the Tourism Authority. All
right. When we return, Mr. Madlopha, we talk about your hybrid job and how you juggle many cultures, you know, working in each and every country that you have worked in. But that is when we return. We are back, and now with Mr. Madlopha, we talk about balancing responsibility between your hybrid job in Ghana and Eswatini, and what challenges does this specific role come with?
It's a big portfolio, bigger than any that I've done before, because it has about 5 departments in it. So I have 5 directors that I have to meet with and really see through that we do the work efficiently and provide that support where they need me. So it is a huge one. And also the diversity amongst the people that are there. We've got people from West Africa mainly. We've got people from Nigeria. We've got people also from East Africa, Kenya. We've got people from Ghana. So and of course Eswatini. So managing all those give different energies. You know, West Africans, East Africans are very different from us Southern Africans. So we then have to also, I then have to bring my skills that I learned at the US Embassy when I was working for the Peace Corps. And this way it's coming in to understanding cultures, being tolerant, but also providing direction and being very firm in terms of what we need to achieve. So that is what it's really helping me a lot here. And it's mainly about getting the work done, understanding what is your role, and then providing the support that is needed for each role to be supported. So I have the finance department, I have the digital department where you're using a lot of AI, artificial intelligence now. I also have the operations department and it's on the programs, and of course we have got special programs as well. So there are different directors that we work with under each of these programs, and we have to ensure that we get this program across these 20 member nations that we are working with, from East Africa, Southern Africa, West Africa, and really really making sure that the program expands even beyond those countries. And it really helps me to understand what each of these countries' challenges are, and then coming up with solution using my experience prior that I had at JA Eswatini.
And now we speak about the measure of success for this current role. How will you measure, how are you going to measure the success of this role, and what goals do you hope to achieve in the next few years for this one specifically?
It feels like the interview I had. So one of the things that is measured is the functionality and optimal operation of all the member nations. We call them the network of member nations. So I look at the governance of each nation. When I talk governance, I talk the board is well structured, the committees are in place, they are meeting as they are supposed to meet, they are executing their governance role and fiduciary responsibilities, and I provide training and guidance for the boards across the 20 countries. And I also ensure that the EDs, which are the executive directors across these member nations, are clear with their job and they are succeeding in implementing the programs through their teams. And they also have the sustainability when it comes to funding and also program implementation. So it's really creating systems and strategies that will work and within the context of each country, but ensuring, so my success is when we have all member nations sustainable with proper governance and well-funded running the program, and they're all succeeding in terms of competing and producing students that will compete in the international level, but also producing alumni that will be successful business people. So it's really using the combination of the departments within my portfolio to ensure that we execute this task.
And what are some of the opportunities that you foresee in this opportunity? Can you speak briefly about that and some of the challenges and insights into the challenges that you face while carrying this specific role?
So the opportunities is, of course, getting a bigger network that can come also handy for Eswatini in the future or even in the immediate future. So you'll find that there are some businesses that are supporting JA in some of West African countries, but that business is not doing the same in Eswatini. So then now it's bringing that network to say, can you replicate what your sister companies are doing across Africa? In South Africa, there are companies that are sponsoring JA Africa a lot, but you find that the same companies got operations in Eswatini and they are not supporting them. So now that's an opportunity for us to partner, but also an opportunity to take this to take JA to be a preferred partner for youth entrepreneurship across Africa. So that when the AU is looking at a partner to implement youth entrepreneurship programs, they think JA in each of the member nations. And of course, across Africa, we use the Regional Operations Center that is in Accra, Ghana, where my office is, to then try and spread the program across Africa.
Yeah.
But lastly, another opportunity is to have a program that will, or a fund that will sponsor multiple countries, because as it were now, there are countries, the Eswatini has to raise their own sponsorship, Mauritius has to do the same, Ghana, Ivory Coast, you name them. But now we're also then looking at if we can have one company or two or even three that will have multiple programs across the several member nations, so that then we know that we are all impacting the nations in a similar way, and that could also help us measure the impact when we have given them the resources that are almost similar to each other.
So I think that speaks to equality mostly. But how do you see the landscape of youth entrepreneurship evolving in the coming years, and what are some of the opportunities that you anticipate, especially running the programs in Eswatini and of course in the many other nations?
The two things that I'm thinking of is, one, we need to have government to really, across Africa, to really put their money where their mouth is when it comes to supporting youth entrepreneurship. So we need to influence government policies to actually support not just availing money, but also availing opportunities for young people, and having mentorship programs that are structured to help these young people to succeed once you've put money. Because now you can have capital, but where is the opportunity? Sometimes the capital requires the opportunity for it to be unlocked. So we have that. But secondly, I think the landscape is changing. So young people need to be constantly exposed to artificial intelligence now.
Of course.
You talked about, the other time you talked about fourth industrial revolution.
Yeah.
It is actually very much accelerated to that level. Now we have got jobs that are being done by AI. We've got AI taking over industries. The question is, how prepared is our youth to understand AI and harness the skills that AI, or the abilities and capacity that AI is bringing to change our landscape and change our fortune. So I think we need to invest in understanding that, because that's where the future is going. In terms of artificial intelligence, we are going to replace you. This interview will be done by AI. It will be edited, and there will be no need for a producer or whatever, or an editor, because now AI will do all the job, and you could be shocked what AI could do. It actually even assist in operating theaters, in surgical wards, and all these things. So you'll be shocked. No job is safe, if I can say. So we need to understand and look at the opportunities that come with that, and also bring the technology companies to help young people to harness these opportunities. I think there are a lot of opportunities now. So it's those two things for me. It is understanding artificial intelligence, embracing it, and harnessing the opportunities that it brings. But it's also lobbying governments to have policies that are friendly to providing opportunities for young people. Much as we can advocate for funding, but once the opportunity is in place, funding will be unlocked.
And you know, speaking of the many other nations in Africa, Eswatini, when it comes to mostly the fourth industrial revolution, how are you as JA working to make sure that we are also up to speed? Because you know, our neighboring countries, maybe they are a bit ahead of us. How are you working into ensuring that the young people are also facilitated for when it comes to learning about the new technologies? How are you working around that?
I'm happy to say that just last week, our president and CEO for JA Africa was in New York, where she was attending a conference on artificial intelligence and its abilities and how it disrupts markets and businesses across the globe. And this is one thing that we want to infuse into our programs, that we want to now say countries, when they start doing the company of the year, they must use and infuse some capabilities of AI in producing their products, and also seeing how AI can enhance their business opportunities. So it's something that is coming up. It needs a lot of support from governments, from the technology companies, and also from entrepreneur sympathizers or sponsors to some extent to sponsor these programs and get it into a reality. But it's also providing the alternative solutions for companies that they can then subscribe into it and invest in it as well.
And as we close off, Mr. Madlopha, can you please give advice to our young people in the Kingdom of Eswatini? What can they do to possess such leadership skills? How can they become, mentors, and especially holding this position of being in Junior Achievement Africa? I think it's not one that many people that are familiar with. How can one become Mr. Madlopha?
I think definitely people need to become themselves
to
start with.
Yes.
And it starts with them believing. There is a principle that I normally teach, and I said, help is on the way. And by saying help is on the way, I'm not saying sit down, help is coming. I said, get up, get on the way, and along the way, there is help.
Yes.
There is help to do whatever you want to do. And you will be amazed if you listen to stories of people, including myself and more others, who would say, I started like this, then I found somebody. And you realize that if you had not started and went on the journey, no one would have met. So I would say we cannot prescribe. I mean, people have got different approaches to things tonight. But all I'm saying is start where you are. You have studied to whatever degree that you have studied, but get going. Help is on the way. Find yourself doing something. Be found busy. Do not move. Do not be found yourself do not be found stagnant at any point. Keep on moving and keep making network. Make use of your skills, and let us change our attitude towards things. No one owes us anything as young people. And if we've got a sad story in terms of how you were brought up, my mother, my father died when I was doing grade 1, and my mother has never worked in the history of her life. And how I grew up, then it's a story for another day. But the thing is, there are many stories like that. How is yours unique? Can it buy you a loaf of bread because you're an orphan? No. So you need to start not looking, having pity for yourself, but how do you engineer yourself? Look for opportunities, create networks that will transform your life. And let us start from where we are, and let's get on the journey. Get started, by all means, start. And help is on the way. Along the way, as you do whatever you are doing, you will meet people like yourself, Tapelo. You will meet people like others that you will meet along the way, and they'll be pointing to others. And it starts snowballing to where you eventually want to be. But you sit down and you think somebody's coming to rescue you, you will see the years passing by.
All righty. Thank you so much, Mr. Madlopha, for joining us here on Young Climber. You make me wish I had another hour with you because there's so much to unpack. But a big thank you for joining us.
I'm humbled to be here.
All righty, that was Mr. Sboniso Madlopha. He said help is on the way, but all you need to do is get up and get moving. Do not stay where you are. Ask around, do something, and that is what makes the future. But other than that, here on Young Climber, we are done for today. I will be seeing you next week, Tuesday at 6:30. But from me, Tabelo Dlamini, it is good night and God bless.